6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Peris and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. The head of state emphasizes the only solution for the COVID-19 pandemic is vaccination. All government and private events suspended for 2 weeks. The Dambulla Economic Centre closed for 3 days. The Minister of Tourism says no decision has been reached to restrict repatriating Sri Lankans overseas due to the increase in coronavirus infections. COVID-19 recoveries on the rise. Dengue cases reported on the increase. In international news, the US President says Armenian mass killing was a genocide. In sports cricket, Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh, rain takes over as the first test ends in high-scoring stalemate. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has highlighted the importance of strictly following all rules and regulations recommended by the health authorities in order to successfully overcome the present COVID-19 challenge. The head of state said, despite many claiming a lockdown must be imposed, it will lead to a devastating effect on the lives of the people and the economy in the long term. Issuing a statement, the President's media division said developing countries such as Sri Lanka cannot impose lockdowns or impose curfews that will cripple economic activity. President Rajapaksa added, the only solution to COVID-19 is to be vaccinated. The President said the government has made arrangements to import 4 COVID-19 vaccines approved by the World Health Organization that will be approved in the future. The President's media division said that all state ceremonies scheduled to be held within the next 2 weeks from today will be suspended. Furthermore, the release said, considering the current COVID-19 situation in the country, all private sector events, meetings and parties planned will be banned under the quarantine law for 2 weeks. These steps have been taken with the view of controlling the spread of COVID-19. The Dambulla Dedicated Economic Centre is to remain closed for 3 days from today to minimize the risk of the COVID-19 spread. A total of 42 positive cases of COVID-19 have reportedly been identified from the Economic Centre following the conduct of random PCR tests. The Economic Centre Traders Society states that a decision was taken to temporarily close the centre for 72 hours to prevent the spread of the virus. The Minister of Tourism Prasanna Ranatunga says no decision has been reached to restrict repatriating Sri Lankans overseas due to the increase in the number of coronavirus infections. Speaking to media this morning, the minister said, despite the current coronavirus situation, operations at airports and tourist arrivals will continue as per instructions of health authorities. The minister added, despite repeated government notices of the dangers of the coronavirus, the consequences of disregarding health instructions during the New Year season are now coming to light. He noted, orders have not been issued to suspend repatriations, adding that arrivals do not require prior permission any longer. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Department of Epidemiology says that another 156 patients have recovered from the coronavirus and have been discharged from hospitals and treatment centres within the past 24 hours. This brings a tally of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 94,311. Sri Lanka's total confirmed cases of COVID-19 surpassed the 100,000 mark yesterday, while the figure currently stands at 100,586. Presently, 5,633 patients infected with the virus are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres. The death toll due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the island is 642. The National Dengue Control Unit Director Dr. Aruna Jayasekara says that there is a notable increase in the number of dengue cases reported this year when compared with the cases reported last year. He said that the cases could rise even more in the coming months with the onset of showery conditions. The highest number of cases of 2,686 has been reported from the Batticaloa district, while the second highest of 939 cases have been reported from the Colombo district. The lowest number of cases of 3 was reported from the Mullaitivu district. The Western Province recorded a total number of 1,743 dengue cases so far, which is the highest among the provinces. The highest incident of dengue cases of 1,794 has been reported in the month of February. Dr. Jayasekara asked the public to be vigilant of all types of mosquito breeding sites, and they should take steps to destroy them on a regular basis. The Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Professor Kapila Pereira, says discussions have not focused on closing schools due to the developing coronavirus situation in the country. He said the ministry is willing to adhere to any regulations imposed by the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19. Professor Pereira noted that it was his responsibility to ensure the continuation of school operations for the future of the children. 10,165 schools have been operational under coronavirus guidelines. He added, schools in areas identified as high risk, such as Kuliapitia, Jaffna and Panudura, can be closed. However, the Secretary added, if the President or the Minister of Education issues an order to hold academic activities at schools, the Ministry will abide by it. The State Minister Dilum Amadugama says the law will be strictly enforced against passenger transport buses that do not follow health guidelines. The State Minister of Vehicle Regulation, Bus Transport Services and Train Compartments and the Motor Car Industry stated that all police stations in the island have been notified to look into this. He stated that buses should not carry passengers exceeding the seating capacity of the bus and that there is a serious threat when travelling along long distances by buses due to the prevailing risky situation. The State Minister reiterated that bus drivers, conductors and passengers should pay strict attention to this regard. That's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Commissioner General of Buddhist Affairs, Sunandakarya Peruma, says arrangements are being made for the main Vesak ceremony. He said that arrangements are being made adhering to strict health guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Meanwhile, the Public Health Inspectors Union has requested the public to refrain from organising dansal and pandals for Vesak along with any other attractions that may gather large groups. The chairman of the association, Upul Rohana, said such a request is being put forth due to the present coronavirus situation. Therefore, the union chairman urged the people to act responsibly and refrain from organising large gatherings.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says an increasing number of people are being arrested for not wearing face masks and thereby violating quarantine laws. He said the law will be strictly enforced against those who do not wear face masks and fail to follow health practices. He further said face masks should be worn when leaving the house and that those who use public transport should pay close attention to this.
World News brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In world news headlines, US President Joe Biden says Armenian mass killing was genocide. At least 23 dead after oxygen tank explodes in Iraq COVID hospital fire. Stars prepare for in-person Oscars ceremony. Joe Biden has become the first US president to issue a statement formally describing the 1915 massacre of Armenians as a genocide. The killings took place in the waning days of the Ottoman Empire, the forerunner of modern-day Turkey. But the issue is highly sensitive, with Turkey acknowledging atrocities but rejecting the term genocide. Previous US administrations have not used the term genocide in formal statements amid concerns over damaging relations with Turkey, a NATO ally. At least 23 people have been killed in a fire at a hospital treating coronavirus patients in the capital of Iraq, Baghdad. Dozens of others were injured in the blaze, which erupted at the Ibn Khatib hospital last night. Reports say an accident had caused an oxygen tank to explode, sparkling the blaze. Iraq's Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi called for an immediate investigation into the causes of what he called a tragic accident. Stars are preparing for the 93rd Academy Awards later today, which will take place across multiple locations worldwide. Unlike recent awards, such as the Golden Globes, BAFTAs, and Emmys, the Academy Awards or the Oscars have asked nominees to attend one of the locations in person. This year's ceremony is taking place 2 months later than usual, after the awards season was delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. US President Joe Biden says Armenian mass killing was genocide. At least 23 dead after oxygen tank explodes in Iraq COVID hospital fire. Stars prepare for in-person Oscars ceremony.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
The best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
And now in development news, although the dairy entrepreneurs societies that have been registered at the district and provincial levels in order to encourage entrepreneurs in the dairy industry are active, all dairy entrepreneur societies operating under the auspices of the government are not functioning as a common organization. Therefore, when taking necessary steps to uplift the said industry, the need has arisen to register the dairy entrepreneur societies under one legal framework at the regional, district, provincial and all-island level under such a common structure. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal tabled by the Minister of Agriculture to advise the legal draftsman to draft a bill for the registration of the dairy entrepreneur societies for this purpose. That was development news, and now in sports news in cricket. It was always the likeliest result, and rain ensured that the first test between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh in Pallekele ended as a high-scoring draw. No play was possible after tea on the final day, leaving Bangladesh on 100 for 2 in their second innings. Sri Lanka had earlier declared their innings during the lunch break, having reached 648 for 8. Dimuth Karnaratne and Dhananjay De Silva were both dismissed on the fifth morning by Taskin Ahmed, striking in successive overs. They added 345 runs, the highest fourth-wicket partnership in Sri Lanka and against Bangladesh. Karnaratne made 244 of 437 balls with 26 fours, his highest test score and maiden double 100, while De Silva scored 166 of 291 balls with 22 fours, his second highest test score.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan Airlines, the flag carrier of Sri Lanka, unveiled its refurbished office located at Sir Baranjaya Thilikamavata, Colombo 1. Strategically positioned in the commercial heart of Colombo, the airline's city office is an eclectic mix of traditional and contemporary styles. The Dutch colonial facade, inner structure and courtyard offer a soothing and welcoming atmosphere of old-world charm, which is complemented with modern, purpose-built interiors. The facility will be occupied by the corporate offices, passenger, cargo sales and Sri Lankan holidays.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka residents who have worked abroad and earned money, individuals or firms which provide services to foreigners have been allowed to open an accounts in foreign banks under regulations issued under the Foreign Exchange Act. Money earned before Sri Lanka's 2017 Foreign Exchange Act was enacted or before could be held in such accounts. In regulations that went into effect on March 22nd, persons who go abroad temporarily for business, medical or educational purposes are also allowed to open foreign accounts without prior permission, but any remaining proceeds have to be remitted back after the task is completed. Sri Lanka is expected to allow foreign money to be brought to Sri Lanka on the payment of a 1% fee.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And now for the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa, southern, Uva, north central and northwestern provinces during the afternoon or night. Fairly heavy rainfall above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Gala and Matara districts. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thundershowers. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The head of state emphasizes the only solution for the COVID-19 pandemic is vaccination. All government and private events suspended for 2 weeks. The Dambulli Economic Centre closed for 3 days. The Minister of Tourism says no decision has been reached to restrict repatriating Sri Lankans overseas due to the increase in coronavirus infections. COVID-19 recoveries on the rise. Dengue cases reported on the increase. In international news, the US President says Armenian mass killing was a genocide. In sports cricket, Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh, rain takes over as the first test ends in high-scoring stalemate. That concludes this news broadcast, and now it's back to your helpful host, Geetanjali Ramanayaka on the other side. Over to you, Geetanjali.